So imagine you have a lot of money, and maybe you have a lot of you've got plenty of time. You've got your time well worked out. So you're doing what you love doing. You're making lots of money, and you have lots of relationships around you, but you have no wisdom. What happens? You actually don't make very good decisions. And in the end, you're going to find that your life feels rather empty. Whereas if you have, let's say, even not very much money, you're struggling a bit with money at the moment, you're working far too hard, so your time is feeling scarce. Perhaps you don't have enough relationships yet. You don't have really good business relationships, or you don't have really good personal relationships, which are extremely important for whatever reason. But you have wisdom, and you grow wisdom. You can then use that wisdom to make some wise decisions about how you're going to grow your other currencies. So your currency of money, your currency of time, your currency of relationships, all of which contribute to your wealth. Because, you know, lots of money and no relationships, that's not going to be a long-term, you're not going to have a long-term experience of wealth. Wealth is built around relationships. Or feeling that you never ever have enough time for yourself or for doing what you love to do, that's not rich, that's poor. So all of this conversation that we're having today sits in the context of building true wealth. And the four fundamental currencies that I put into the category of true wealth are money, time, relationships, and wisdom. And most often somebody will say, well, what about health? For me, well-being, and I contain health within well-being, is the foundation of all wealth. So I don't teach it as a currency. I teach it more like, if you don't have well-being, it's like that's the foundation of any kind of wealth. And it's also the foundation of your desire to create wealth, to create positive impact in the world, to contribute to the world. When we have really deep well-being, there's nothing in the world that we would like to do more than contribute to the well-being and the wealth of other people. And that's how we create wealth for ourselves. That's how we create true wealth. So for me, well-being is a container. These currencies sit inside that container. So I just approach it a little bit of a different way. Of course, there are other currencies. Maybe you have a currency of knowledge. Maybe you're an expert in, who knows, music, for example. That's a kind of currency. As you grow your capability with music, it becomes more and more valuable. Okay, but it's specific to you. I might not need that. Somebody else might not need music. You might have your own expertise. So I think of that in a little bit differently. But these four fundamental currencies, money, time, relationships, and wisdom, whichever way I look, if I'm missing or feeling scarce in one of those or lacking in one of those, I don't feel wealthy. My life doesn't feel that kind of abundance or prosperity or wealth. I don't have to have millions. I don't have to be living on the beach with nothing to do. To me, that wouldn't be a wealth of time. But to be able to spend my time doing things that I love, and to feel that I have time for myself and for other things that are important to me, so that I experience wealth, literally wealth in my time. To have a wealth of relationships. I don't need to have thousands of relationships. I can't handle thousands of relationships, but I like to feel a wealth in my relationships, that they are valuable, really deeply valuable to me. And they are something that I invest in and I want to grow. And doing that is very beneficial for growing the wealth of my business as well. Okay. And then wisdom, I've already explained to you. To me, it's the one that, even if you're really having trouble with all the others, if you have wisdom, you can do something about it. So the heart of wisdom for me is about making wise decisions. And what that comes to fundamentally is consciousness. So I have a very simple definition of consciousness. And I know people who have spent their whole life trying to define and do the physics and the maths of what is consciousness. So I'm not competing with them. This is just my version. But I think about consciousness. I think about what happens if you're unconscious in hospital, for example. You can't make decisions. That's the fundamental thing. When somebody's unconscious, they're not able to make decisions for themselves. And so I always bring consciousness to decisions. We make decisions based on our awareness. A lot of people confuse awareness and consciousness. To me, I can be aware of lots and lots of things. But consciousness is when I exercise my willpower or my free will to make a decision based on my awareness. So I might be aware that, there's an option over here and there's another option over here. And then there's something else here that I'd like to bring in. So I'm tapping into my awareness and selecting what I want to feed into my decision. But the decision is the moment where I crunch everything down into one single point. I'm not hanging out in the field of all possibilities when I make a decision. I'm saying I make this single choice in this moment. It's like if I'm looking for a business partner, there are millions, potentially billions of people I could look at as a business partner, but when I make a decision, it's just one. So it closes down all the possibilities. Of course, once I've made that decision, all kinds of new possibilities open up. But that decision changes the material reality of my life. It changes my life. So consciousness for me is the ability of any life form, not only humans, it could be something else, to make decisions based in awareness that change reality. Please don't take it as like some very, very special definition. It works though, it's very practical. And I like that. It reminds me that making decisions is really important. When we have a business, we make decisions every single day. And those decisions fundamentally determine what happens in our business. And if we make a series of unwise decisions, it's pretty obvious we don't get good results. So the real question is, can you imagine building your capacity to make wise decisions, not only over a few weeks, but actually, just hold on a second, to mute the mic. Not only over a few weeks, like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a course about wisdom and I'm going to grow something, but can you imagine that if you make a commitment to wisdom, real wisdom, making wise decisions every single day, and you committed to that over years? If you do it for years, you want to do it for more years more, because you'll never want to look back to how it used to be when you made less wise decisions. That's really the question, is what would change in your business and also in your life if you had that commitment to wisdom? And in those difficult moments when you want to run away from something, or when you're really tempted by a bright, shiny business object, or when you know that you're about to make a stupid decision, there's something inside you that can say, hold on a moment, let's just stop here and find what is the wise decision for me to make in this situation. I think this is really important. And it is life-changing and business-changing. And the other thing that's important about it for me is that in today's world, I feel that we need wisdom more than we ever have at any time before. I don't know what was going on really 100 or 1,000 years ago. I know a little bit of history, but not that much. But that doesn't really matter. It's very clear to me today that we are faced every single day by a lot of decisions that are being made with very, very little or no wisdom, I would say. And I think it's really important that we address that.